speaking in tongues or in light language. Today, I want to talk about speaking in tongues, speaking in light language, how you can do it, how you can start doing it, how I do it, and how it helps me to bliss the F out. I'm going to give a demonstration of speaking in light at the towards the end of the episode. If you want to hang in till then, let's guzzle down some bliss today. I love you. Be blessed. Welcome to the Blissful Breakfast with Breegs. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's bliss out this morning. Let's have a little sip of whatever we're sipping on. I've honestly just been drinking water. It's a classic, right? All right, so we're going to talk about light language, about speaking in tongues. The Apostle Paul referred to it as the tongues of angels, and maybe it's more familiar to you, the word light language. So Christians call it speaking in tongues, and other hippy dippies call it light language. It doesn't matter. It's really just a language that's connected to source. And honestly, I do it, but I don't know that much about it. I've recently been learning a little bit more about it, and I've done it for over a decade. And it really, you're just connecting to source, and you're just speaking from source without using your thinking brain. There's been a lot of studies. There's been a lot of there's been studies and research. They've hooked up people who speak in tongues, and they scan their brain, and they basically the skeptical scientists are actually pretty what's going on? They're kind of shocked that you don't use any of your thinking brain. I have it written down somewhere. Let's see. Your prefrontal cortex, your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. There's diminished. They found diminished activity in there from the brain scans of the people speaking in tongues, basically meaning that your speech center is not activated. You're not thinking about talking, which is really bizarre, really weird. And so you can actually scientifically prove that speaking in tongues it's in flow. It's something magical and divine, and you're not thinking about it. And that's definitely my experience when I learn how to speak in tongues, and it just flows. First you sound like you're talking gibberish, and you doubt it, and I didn't think I even was speaking in tongues. It's just I'm just saying random crap. But the more you do it, the more you realize, oh wow, it's so fun and relaxing, because I don't have to think about saying anything. I'm not thinking about words. I'm just letting it flow. And it's about accessing this area of flow, and whether it doesn't have to be speaking in light language, it can be doing art or music. I think that the state of flow is so important. Doing something that you like, walking, painting, singing, drawing, writing code, whatever the thing is for you, making furniture, getting into flow, I think is the most important thing. It's just when you're connected with yourself, with the true light, true love, and you're just doing what you want to be doing. Now, this is a little different, but ultimately, I think it's in the same sphere of things. So for me, speaking in tongues, it helps me to relax. It helps me to have a confirmation that I'm connected to the universe. I'm connected to God's source, to the absolute. I am connected. And that is a great way to reduce anxiety and to bliss out. So, the first, it's not for everyone. You don't have to do it. Don't let any evangelical tell you, or charismatic tell you that you have to speak in tongues, or you're not baptized in the Spirit, or you're not saved, or you're not blah, 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 or you're not whatever, part of the club. I do not believe that. I think, and maybe that sounds insane to you. You've never heard that, whether you're a Christian or not. You can do it if you want. It's fun. It's an opportunity. It's a tool that anyone can do, but you don't have to. There's a lot of fun things to do on this planet. So don't worry about it if this doesn't interest you. If it does interest you, then let me talk to you right now. If you want to speak in tongues or your light language, I honestly don't know how to teach people, but I will share my experience, and maybe that'll help you. When I first heard of other people, I heard other people speaking in tongues and other people getting interpretations, and wow, it was very meaningful, very impactful to these people. I'm that sounds fun, and I want to do that. And this is in my early 20s. And I just decided that I wanted to speak in tongues, and I chose to believe that it was possible. Like, I heard it being spoken, and so I knew it was a thing, but like I was open to the idea of it, and so I wanted to do it. I wanted to seek after it. So I think there was like 6 months after me wanting to do it, and I like couldn't do it still. I couldn't do it. And I had no idea how to begin. It was just really scary, really weird. I remember a friend told me, like, Breegs, like, you can already do it. Just do it. Stop trying to, just do it. Like the freaking classic Yoda advice, right? And I was like, okay. And so I think a few days after that, I just started doing it. But there is a lot of unbelief. And I think with any skill, with anything that you learn and you do, there's always that awkwardness in the beginning where you don't think you're doing it right and you want to give up. It's the same thing with everything. Spiritual gifts and stuff like that. It's the same thing as learning a practical skill, how to code, a practical skill, like how to do HTML or how to write copywriting or, whatever it is, how to play basketball. You're going to miss those shots and you're going to think you're a dweeb. So for me, I honestly thought I was speaking gibberish, and I thought, I was just like speaking nothing, and I thought it was stupid. I was like, I am making these words up, And I had that doubt for a while until I just like heard from my friend, like, oh, I can already do it. And I just started doing it. And I knew that I was really doing it when I like experienced the feeling of not thinking about it. Because you can kind of tell when you don't have to think about something, right? If I had to think, if I had to think to you about like, okay, name 3 different types of birds and where they're located. Like, okay, cardinals, crows. I suck at birds. I don't know. Did you do the 6th grade thing where you had to like find a bunch of birds in nature? Oh, I hated that. Even though I love nature, I love animals, whatever. Identifying birds doesn't seem possible to me. It's not something I knew. Anyway, if you have to think about something, you know that you're thinking about it. You're activating your left side of your brain, and your what do they call it? The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. And yeah, but when you're in flow, when you can do something, when you meditate, when you're just breathing, or maybe you draw or paint, or you sing, or you do something where you can just kind of shut it down and it doesn't take any effort. You just take it in, you flow. And that's what you need to be in, or that's the evidence or the sign that you are actually speaking in tongues. And so speaking in tongues, a lot of the times it's an amalgamation. Is that a word? It's a combination of all sorts of different languages, actually. A lot of the time you're speaking in Hebrew and in different languages. I know I've done it for some people, and they thought it was like, oh, French, or they thought it sounded Russian. And it can change and shift depending on if you are speaking in tongues in front of an audience or with people. It can shift to what they need. Because a part of speaking in tongues, I think, and this is just my perspective, you can do whatever you want. You can look at the scriptures or your experience or whatever, but a lot of it is very personal. For me, it's just like, and it's a lot of times I sing in it, and I'm not a singer, but just like you can flow. The cadence of sort of singing the tongues is a little more flowy, a little easier, a little more fun. It's actually a great way to start, is just singing. I've heard that if you just start singing, regular singing, it's a great way to start speaking in tongues. But anyway, I would start singing, and then that would kind of help flow into tongues. And I feel like I totally lost my train of thought. Why did I start talking about singing? I was talking about learning tongues. Okay, so personal. It's a personal thing for me. It's just like it helps me to feel connected. And it's kind of singing. Just kind of sing it. But in a more public sense, if giving a light language message to someone, channeling a light language, channeling something in tongues can be sort of this way to communicate to someone something that they need. It can be this divine blessing, this prophecy for them. It can be this something that influences and helps someone and just like showers them with like love from heaven, right? Showers them with like this blessing, this divine blessing, and this angelic sort of presence. So I think it's also valuable to do it for people if you feel that it's right or if they resonate with it. And I've been fairly timid with that over the past many years. I just like don't whip it out too much. But lately I've been having some experiences where it actually really resonated with people. And you can actually, if you speak in tongues, you can actually, and yeah, a new acquaintance of mine, someone that came into my sphere, she told me that you can look it up. You can actually look up the words or do like voice to text or look up Google the different words. If you can kind of sound it out or figure out what the word is, and you can figure out what that word means. And oftentimes it's words in different languages. It's in Hebrew, it's in all sorts of different things. So that's weird. And I didn't really realize that until recently, but so I recommend if you want to start speaking in tongues, you have to believe it, and then you got to overcome that doubt because it's probably going to sound like gibberish. Get into the flow state. You can sing, and then you can do like Sanskrit chants. Like it's very similar, I think, to Sanskrit chants like Om or like Hum. You know the word Amen, Amen. It's like let it be so. Amen. It's like the end of a prayer. That's like Sanskrit. That's an ancient sort of divine word that just means let it be, let it be so. But like Amen. I don't know if you've done any like Om chanting before or know any Sanskrit chants, but it can be similar to that. So like Om, Gom, Sharim. And I'm not good at these, to be honest. I'm this white guy. You're probably like, oh my God, he's doing it wrong. I think you're supposed to do it more, really feel it in your belly and do it. Like do it longer and deeper. But if you are familiar with that stuff, that's going to really help you, I think. And then you just kind of let it flow. And singing can be a great way as well. And so I also know that's related to your throat chakra. So if you can balance your throat chakra, and maybe that sounds bizarre to you, but like it's just like speaking up, speaking your voice, your passion, speaking. If you do public speaking, if you aren't afraid of just like talking and sharing your opinion, maybe you have a thought or something to share with a friend or a spouse. You can unblock your throat chakra by just using your voice. And maybe it's using your voice in a sense of your passion on this planet and like what you're here to do and whatever that means to you, that can actually help you with this too. So, all right, I'm gonna speak in tongues. I'm gonna give you a light language message. And this is for you. I believe that this is gonna impact you. So I'll quickly also say there is a little bit about interpretation. So there's a lot of hubbub about speaking in tongues and getting an interpretation because in the Bible and the scriptures, it talks about, there's like this scolding that Paul did of the Corinthian church, right? And they were in Greece and they had a really interesting church and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. And it sounded cool for me. I'd totally be down with this church. I think like they were just, the culture was different. And there's a specific verse about him getting after them about speaking in tongues too much and not providing an interpretation. I think they were just having fun, experiencing their gifts, and then but to what benefit, And so some people were lost or confused or didn't understand. So there's this kind of stigma in the more fundamental church, and maybe you're a part of that, and that's your perspective. That's totally fine. I love and respect that, and I think there's definitely something to that of just speaking in tongues, but to what benefit? Is that helping someone? Is that making someone feel stupid or oh, well, I can't do that, Or are you helping someone out? So I'm going to speak in tongues. I'm going to speak in light language, and I believe that it's going to shower you in love and blessings. And even so I may or may not give an interpretation for it. I don't, sometimes I get images and pictures and sort of get a sense of what it's saying. Sometimes I have gotten, I think, close to word for word interpretations, but, unless I feel really good about it, I'm not going to do that. And so I think just even without an interpretation, just the feeling of it is more important because language is kind of messy. It's easy to misinterpret things, but I think the feeling of it is more important. So I'm going to speak in light, and I want you to just take this in and feel it. And feel it. See if something is speaking to you. See if something is resonating in your body. See if you notice any type of difference, any tingling, any joy, if you get whacked out in the bliss. And so yeah, I'm gonna begin speaking in tongues, and I may or may not give like a verbal interpretation or sense of what it is, but just like enjoy it. Enjoy this, okay? This is for you. We're gonna have some fun. All right, let's rock and roll, okay? Kungoramna tasanga shangoramna kangarana hamamamara tununo dokoramna tashangarana tungora singe hengaram no turan shangara tatasa tengoram kungoram natasha tinge senge he toramna kangara tungora baba natashangora sungoramna kangarana Shungoram kungoram paparata shangaro kungora paranasa. How did that feel? How was that? So I got a sense during that of God, of Source, bringing you in, bringing us together. I saw sort of some images of dancing and just like enjoying life. I saw this fatherly hug, and I believe that you are loved, and that the Father, that the Divine Father is hugging you and loving you and supports you, that you are enough, and that He is proud of you, that God is proud of you. The universe is for you. That's the overall sense I got with that message in light. So I hope that speaks to you. And let me know if you're interested in speaking in tongues more, or if that really impacted you. I really want to hear it. I do believe that was for you, that was for someone, and I would love to hear about it. All right. I'll leave you in love and in light. Bless you and stay blessed.